Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining Faithfully Committed Podcast. Today, we will be discussing protecting your brand and businesses with trademark. I would like to introduce you to Miss Jahan Carter. She is a lawyer, an entrepreneur, and most of all, she's my sister. Jahan, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on your podcast. I'm excited to be here.
We're excited to have you. So, are you ready? I have a couple of questions as it
Okay.
relates to trademark.
Okay.
Okay, my first question is how does one go about obtaining a trademark?
So before I get into how you obtain a trademark, I think it's important for people to know uh, what a trademark is for, because a lot of times people use the word trademark, copyright, patent interchangeably, and they all protect different things. So for today's episode, we're talking about trademarks. So trademarks protect the source of a product or service. So for example, and my sister Gladys, aka Cookie, will know this trademark very well. When you're driving down the street and you see the golden arches, you don't think of anything but McDonald's. You don't think about McWilliams. You don't think about Matthew. You don't think of anything that begins with the M other than McDonald's. And the reason why is because that logo. Oh,
Johanna, you still there? Jahan? She's having technical difficulties. Just give her a few minutes. Oh, and she's calling. Hi, did it hang up on you? Ah, it was being charged over there on the desk. I thought this was probably already charged. Well, how do I cut this off? So is it still? It's still recording as I speak to you. Mm-hmm. Okay. There you go. Okay,
so
so
we're going to pick up from where I left off. So when the reason why you think of McDonald's when you see that M is because McDonald's has done a really good job of not only registering the word McDonald's, which is the word mark McDonald's, but also their logo. So any design, word, phrase, even a color or a sound, that Tiffany blue, where everybody want to get engaged and get a Tiffany ring, that blue is registered with them. The sound that you hear when the computer comes on, I think iPhones, that sound with the Apple, that ding, that's trademark. So the reason why things have to be trademarked is because when people see or hear something, they should be able to associate who is behind that particular product or service. You don't, with Nike, you don't want to have a swoop on your shoe and it's a fake Nike shoe. It belongs to someone else. It doesn't belong to Nike. They want to make sure the consumers are aware that your logo or your word mark is associated in consumers' mind with the product and service that you're selling, if that makes sense. So it doesn't matter.
yes.
If you have a product, it's pretty obvious. Shoes, food, those are all products. But if you have a service, consulting, if you're a lawyer, if you're an accountant, if you have a dance school, anything that isn't a product that you're selling, it's considered a service. Those brands also have to be, and businesses also have to be protected with trademarks as well. So now that you know what the trademark protects, it protects either again that logo, sound, color, or word associated with your business. To file a trademark, you have to go to the United States Patent and Trademark Office online, and you fill out. There are typically only 3 or 4 different types of applications you can register with them. The main 2 applications are um, a standard application and a plus application. A plus application, you're using an attorney, so they give you a discount because they really want people to use attorneys to file their trademarks. If you're not using an attorney to file your trademark, you're going to pay $100 more and do their standard application. And there's some other things that you have to follow as it relates to the plus versus the standard application. But the main thing is you're getting a discount because an attorney is filing it for you. So whichever application you're filing that online, and you can pick one category, which most people do because it's very expensive. You're spending either 250 or 350, again, depending on the application, per category. So let's say you have, I don't know, I'm just making up something. I don't know, uh, Carter Goods. I'm just making it up. But Carter Goods comes in t-shirts, it comes in books, it comes in jewelry. Those are all different categories at the trademark office. So when you file your trademark, it does not protect you. It does not protect you all the way across every single category. You have to file a trademark for each of those categories. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is not only do you have to file an application for each category that your product or service is in, you have to tell the trademark office, are you already using it or do you intend to use it? So if you're already using it, it's called a 1A. So think active, 1A application. That means you already are using in commerce, you've already sold products and services with the mark that you're registering. And that's the strongest application because you're already using it. Versus a 1B, B as in boy, that's you're intending to use it. You haven't quite used it yet, but you're planning on. And I always advise my clients, because I am a business and entertainment attorney, trademarks is a big part of my practice. I always encourage people, try to do 1A instead of 1B, because with 1B, they're going to make you fill out a second application once you start using it. And guess what that means? A second fee. So why pay twice? Why fill out 2 different applications when you can just go ahead and start using it? And then as soon as you start using it, you can immediately file the application.
Thank you. Okay, is the trademark available? Is there a search or something that has to be done to make sure?
So any person can use the standard trademark search database that they have on their website to type in the name of their mark or search for their design logo to see if someone else has it. I always tell my clients or potential clients that someone most likely is trying to steal your word mark, like your word name of your business, before that. Most people don't want to steal your logo. That long time ago, people had issues with people selling logos, but these days you don't really find people selling logos, but they do want to use the same words as you. So if you have something very popular, a really good saying, and you check the database and you see that it is not there, doesn't mean that somebody isn't thinking about it. Because what is the saying? A good idea, the minute you think of a good idea, somebody else is thinking of it. So the first place is to start and look at that database. But to be honest with you, just because it's not in a database, it doesn't mean you're completely clear. So you want to hurry up and file it. And you also, to be honest with you, I tell people you can look on the trademark office, but just Google whatever your phrase is. So if your phrase is perfect cookies, type in the word if the name of your business is perfect cookies, type in perfect cookies, see what comes up, see if a website comes up, see if a social media page comes up, see if anything comes up, because that's going to already probably tell you what's in the trademark database, unless those people have not filed yet, right? So I always encourage people, whether you use a lawyer or not, obviously I encourage you to use a lawyer to do a thorough search. But if you're going to do a search on your own, check Google, type in your name, the word that you're trying to trademark, and see what comes up. But then also use the actual database that they have online to do your search.
Oh, thank you. Another question. Should a person register their business nationally or internationally?
So the United States Trademark Office is that national database. So it's not, I know there's some states where you can kind of, and I still don't see the point of it, file like there's some states where you can file a trademark like locally for your state. To me, it makes more sense to do the one all across the United States, which is the
Yeah.
United States Patent and Trademark Office. And there's some people that have products that get infringed upon in China and Asia and things like that. So sometimes I will encourage them to file their trademarks over there too, because if they infringe upon you over there, unless you're going to find some jurisdiction over them to drag them into court here, you would have to go there. And the only way you can go there with the case is if you have filed, your trademark in that particular country. But 9 times out of 10, you're okay to just file it nationally with the United States Patent Trademark Office, because 9 times out of 10, that foreign company does some sort of business here, and so you should be able to drag them in court here.
Thank you. Another question. How do I enforce my trademarks rights if they are infringed upon?
I do a lot of these.
I'm sorry, but you said?
I said I do a lot of these cease and desist letters. That's the first step. You get an attorney to file a letter saying, business XYZ, it's been brought to our attention that you are using our mark with your products and services. We own the mark. We're asking that, you ask them to stop. You ask them to stop. And then if they don't, then you can bring an infringement action against
That's interesting. Okay. How can I maintain or renew my trademark?
So I want to say it's every 6 to 7 years you have to file that you're still using it. But the first couple of years, you don't really have to do anything. You just pay that initial fee of that 250 or 350 per application for your mark, and that's all you need to do, at least initially.
Okay, so how long does it take for the registration of a trademark?
So it used to be 4 to 6 months. Now it's 8 to 15 months.
Oh,
Yeah, and it could be longer if you have someone opposing your mark. So say someone comes along and says, I was using it first, or you may have used it first, but the public considers me the source, not you. Then you're going to deal with an opposition, meaning your your filing will come out of the original trademark office, and they will send you to what they call the trademark appeal board, trial and appeal board, where you don't have to go in person. Luckily, even before the pandemic, you never had to come in person, but you basically have a hearing over documents. So each side will submit documents, testimony, evidence, and the board would make the decision over who they think should have the trademark.
that's interesting. Okay. Can I modify the trademark in the future without losing protection?
You can modify it, but what I say is just add a category. So if you already had a category you were using, and at the time, let's say you were only doing shirts and you added pants, you should just fill out a new application and choose pants under apparel, so that it's just added to that mark.
Okay. Let's consider I don't know anything about a trademark. Is
Mhm.
it best that I hire an attorney?
Yes, definitely best that you hire an attorney if you know nothing, even if you think you know a little. Most trademark attorneys charge $1,500 to $2,500 flat fee, and sometimes that includes at least one registration fee. Sometimes it does, it doesn't, depending on how expensive the attorney. But long story short, you're going to spend 1,000 or two on a professional attorney to handle it.
Right.
But the good news is most of these attorneys offer to answer any questions from the trademark board. So let's say you file it and the trademark board has questions. Like I have a client right now. We're going back and forth with the office. Every time we submit something, they have something else. They're like, no, this isn't correct, or we don't understand this. if you are not a lawyer, you're not going to know how to go back and forth with legal arguments with the board to push your application through. So the good news is, even though it's a lot of money up front, 9 times out of 10, it's a flat fee. And you have that person as your lawyer for your trademark until you get the certificate in your hand. By the way, if you want the physical certificate, you got to pay for it there. They used to mail it to you for free once it went through. Now they email you a PDF certificate. If you want a hard copy one, they're making you pay for it. So that's something they've been doing in the last 2 years.
Okay, that's new. Okay. Is the trademark distinctive and unique?
So it should be distinctive. So one of the filings I'm currently dealing with is a filing of one of my own business trademarks, called Lawyer Bay. So when you think of Lawyer Bay, if you heard that word, I'm pretty sure the first thing that will come to mind is it has something to do with a lawyer. It's a product or services because it says Lawyer Bay, right? So that's considered a descriptive mark. But if I just told you Lawyer Bay, you still wouldn't know what it was, right? You still wouldn't know what it was. You wouldn't know if it was a product or a service. So when something is descriptive like that and it's not distinct, like when you hear it, you don't really know what it is and it's describing something, they typically, the trademark board will not even give you a registration until you've used it for a couple of years. So that people know that, oh, Lawyer Bay is, I don't know, a dating site, or Lawyer Bay is a professional organization, or Lawyer Bay, whatever you are planning Lawyer Bay to be at that point, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, at that point, you would have established yourself in the marketplace with a product and service associated with the name. So at that point, the trademark office would then provide a registration. So yes, the more the stronger marks, the strongest mark, for example, is Apple. Because when I say Apple, what do you think of?
Uh, Apple's computers, Apple phones.
Right. You notice you didn't say Apple to
True.
food, right? Which that came first. The Apple food was something that was first. But that's such a strong mark because even though it says Apple, what does Apple have to do with a computer? What does Apple have to do with an iPad? It doesn't. But that mark is so strong that now when
Mhm.
people say Apple, like you said, that's the first thing they think of. So yes, there are different categories of trademarks that, again, your attorney, once you have come up with the name of your business brand or your slogan, you would want to go over what category that your mark falls in. And the reason why you want to go over it before you file the application, because if it's not strong enough, 9 times out of 10, your application will be denied. They will deny you and they'll tell you why. And so yeah, you want to, whatever you come up with, you want to go over trademark attorney and say, is this something, as long as I start using it in commerce with this product or this service, is this something that's strong enough that I can register it now? And again, this goes back to your question of should maybe someone get an attorney. This is why, because the average person on the street doesn't know the different categories, doesn't know what is likely to get rejected versus not. So it is important, I would say, from A to Z, to sit down with the trademark attorney with the name that you've come up with, doing a search just to see if there's anything out there that's similar, determining what type of market is. And then after you do all your due diligence, then filing your application. Because another thing, you don't get your money back because they don't register it, because they refuse it. They keep
Oh,
the money. There are no refunds at the patent and trademark office unless it's absolutely their mistake. So,
oh, you have to be very careful with that. What good of services will a trademark covers?
so there's several categories. There are over 20 like product categories, over 20 service categories. Those are easily Googleable. But 9 times out of 10, people are only doing like the most popular one is category 25, which is apparel. So that's
Yeah.
hats, shirts, pants, footwear. That's probably the most popular category. Another popular category now is podcasts, because we're talking about podcasts. A lot of people do podcasts now. If you're an entertainer, you're a performer, like Beyonce, she has tons of trademarks with her name, right? With all the different things. So yeah, there's some categories that are just popular because they're typically filed, and then there's some that are less popular. Like there's trademarks for people that do speaking engagements. You know, there's an actual trademark for that. So yeah, again, this is why it's good to have an attorney because you want it to me. I know it's more expensive, but if you are actively using more than one category, to me, it's smart to just do all your categories in one application versus kind of doing them one at a time. Because depending on your attorney, they may charge you more money to go in and do a fresh application with another category. But if you just already have the attorney, they're already there doing the application, they'll probably give you a deal. Even if you're doing a couple of categories, because they would only have to go inside of the database one time to add those categories versus going into it different times to complete each application. So again, this is why a trademark attorney is important.
So if you get ready to file a trademark, do you have to already have a logo?
No. So a trademark is both the words that are describing your business or the slogan for your business, and it's a design. Those are actually two different applications. And you have a lot of people that never register their logo because nobody's trying to steal it, right? And also you have to keep in mind the minute you use something in commerce, you technically are the trademark owner without filing it in the United States Patent and Trademark. The minute you use it, you own it. You're considered the common law owner. The reason why you should register it is for protection so that if someone tries to steal it, you have that protection when you do an infringement suit. The same thing with copyrights when people copyright. So a copyright, unlike a trademark, it protects the expression of an idea. So that's a song, a dance, a TV show, or film. These are expressions of ideas. Um, Again, the minute you hit save on your computer, you save your song, you save your book, you save your TV show, whatever, on your device, it's copyrighted. But you don't get the same amount of protection. You're not able to sue for as much money if you don't register it with the office. So the point of registering it with these offices is so that you have more protection in the event there's infringement.
That's interesting to know as well. Okay, so what made you decide to become an entertainment lawyer?
I was actually a business and family law attorney first. The business attorney in me kind of, evolved also into entertainment because and you know, that's why it's called the entertainment business. I know a lot of times people forget, they see people saying it, excuse me, singing and dancing, but it's a business. And people have managers, lawyers, accountants, agents. They're the people, like you said, behind the Beyoncés and the Michael Jacksons and the Chris Browns. So I was already doing business, family, and business law. And under business law, I was already doing like contracts and things of that nature. So long story short, I moved to Los Angeles for a little bit, worked for an entertainment company, a record label called Universal Music Group. And from there, um, I, was like, oh, maybe I can, branch my practice, right? And get some clients that I can do copyright and trademark work for, contract work for. It kind of opened my eyes to that part of law. So I actually started off really as a business attorney and it just kind of, you know,
Do you
developed.
still practice business attorney?
Yes, yes. The majority of what I do is still business. My practice is out of Washington, D.C. um, Copyright and trademark law is federal, so I can accept a client from any state. Unlike like family law and criminal law, you have to be barred in each of those states, wherever your client is. For my clients can live anywhere, as long as I'm doing the business through my DC office because it's federal. And then obviously contracts again. Um, that is something again, as long as I'm doing it from my DC office, I don't have to be registered in that particular state in order to review or draft a contract for a client that does not live in my state. So luckily for me, because I'm not going to sit and take a million bars, the area of law I was already in allowed me to have clients from different states. And so again, it was important that I still had business law because you're not going to have an entertainment or client in the arts all the time. But what will you probably have a lot? You have a lot of people that are opening up businesses. You have a lot of people that are entrepreneurs. So for me, it was very important to keep the business hat of business law as a part of my firm, and not completely just do entertainment.
Oh, good. So I understand you have a Black Lawyer podcast. Could you tell us
Mhm.
a little bit about it?
Sure. So, one of the things that I find, and even with you asking the questions, um, people really do want legal knowledge about things. They want to know how to protect themselves, and their businesses and their products and their services. But a lot of times they don't know how.
True.
So for me, it was really important to create something, especially for the Black community. And again, you don't have to be a Black person in the community or a Black lawyer to use my website, but it was important that I created a resource dedicated to my people, because my people typically don't have attorneys, can't afford attorneys, can't find an attorney. And so it started off as just a website with my podcast talking about Black legal news and bringing on high profile people in the law. So politicians like Maxine Waters, celebrity advocates like Hill Harper, and then like actual lawyers like Lee Merritt. Um, what else have I had? I've had the justice Kara Bolden, Harris Bolden, on my podcast. I've had Ebony K. Williams, who's an attorney, but she's now also a legal correspondent. She was also on Real Housewives of New York. So I've had actual attorneys, celebrity advocates, and politicians on my website. So anybody in the law, that are Black and in the law. I did that with legal news on the podcast. So in the beginning, the podcast was just that was it, was just a podcast. And then about a year later, we launched the blacklawyers.com, where of course we still showcase the podcast, but we also launched a lawyer directory. So if you're looking for a Black attorney, you can go to the blacklawyers.com and go to our directory, choose your state, and find an attorney. We also now have a scholarship for students. So if you're a law student, we also have a Black medical student one. Um, we have a scholarship. And then we also have membership for lawyers that are seeking to advertise their services on our website and be a part of our directory. We have a membership for actual lawyers. The last thing we have, which is probably the most exciting outside of the podcast, we have merchandise. So we have various collections. Obviously, some collections are tailored towards lawyers and law students, in particular, the Black TV Lawyers collection, that Kerry Washington partnered with us on to do a fundraiser. So we have a shirt that has all the Black TV lawyers like Claire Huxtable, Olivia Pope, Maxine Shaw from Living Single, all the Black TV lawyers. It was very popular. She partnered with us. We did a fundraiser for the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. But outside of that fundraiser, year round, that shirt fundraises for the scholarship, that I just talked about a few minutes ago. So we have merchandise for lawyers, doctors, but then we also have merchandise for everyone. We have like a Black empowerment merchandise section that have various popular sayings on them, for the Black community, like rooting for everyone Black or minding my own Black business. We have all these popular sayings in that collection as well. So now, it's gone from just a podcast where we talk about the news and we interview people. It's gone from that to just like a one-stop shop for the community lawyers and law students, a resource, an online resource, a one-stop shop online resource.
Right. Okay. I noticed we're running out of time. So one more thing. Could you
Okay.
please provide us with your contact information in case
Mhm.
someone needs a lawyer?
Sure. So if you want to particularly look at my services, like I said, I do mostly entertainment and business law. So it's copyrights, contracts, trademarks, all sorts of things as it relates to your business, and or if you're in the arts as that as well. You can go to my law firm website, www.askcarter, like my last name, law.com, www.askcarterlaw.com. And on social media, I'm at the handle. On
Mhm.
social media, I'm at Ask Carter Law everywhere. And then if you want to check out specifically the blacklawyers.com, again, it's the blacklawyers with an S.com. to check out the podcast and the merch and the scholarship and the news. All of that is there as well.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so excited.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you for having me. I'm very passionate about protecting businesses, especially for women businesses, businesses of color. That's a passion of mine. So I hope, even if it's just one thing somebody remembers from this podcast, I hope that your audience pulls something from this episode today.
They will. I'm pretty sure about that.
Okay.
Okay, but thank you and have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye bye.